Welcome into the Cris Collinsworth podcast featuring Richard Sherman and presented by our friends at DraftKings Sportsbook. You can use promo code PFF to get 100-1 odds for any golfer to finish in the top 10 at Augusta this week. So I would hustle my way on over there. And what a great show we have for you today. We have Tre'Davious White. We have Richard Sherman. We're talking about all things NFL draft. We have insiders looks at what is happening in the NFC East. So many things that involve the NFL draft have to do with Miami or the Jets or the New England Patriots or the Buffalo Bills, now the front runner and on the back end of the draft in that division. So a lot of different things, but two very interesting characters as part of this podcast today. And Tre'Davious White was valedictorian of his high school class. Richard Sherman was salutatorian, the number 2 guy in his high school class. So we have some fun with that. But these guys really know their way all around the National Football League. So we're really looking forward to breaking down everything, especially as it pertains to the draft. And remember that you're going to have to head over to PFF.com to get your PFF NFL Draft Guide so that you can be as prepared as anybody out there. This draft guide is second to none. Fred Gaudelli, who works with me at NBC, who did the draft for 15 years, something like that, has said this is the greatest single draft guide that he has ever seen. And all you need to do is get a PFF Edge subscription for just $40. You get that for the entire year, and you're going to get that draft guide. So now let's make it happen. Here we go with Richard and Tre'Davious White right here on the Cris Collinsworth podcast. All right, here we go with Tre'Davious White now joining Richard Sherman. Richard, this is the closest guy to you that I've met. I'm not kidding you. So I'm sitting there and we're getting ready to do the game. And I go, and we're doing the interview with Tre'Davious, and I go, this guy's really smart. This is, sometimes it just jumps out in an interview. No, it never happened to me. Nobody ever said this guy's really smart with me. But when I interview Richard, I go, this guy's really smart, and he's salutatorian in his high school. And, and I did Tre'Davious, when I did a little research, I found out the whole thing. And then I started looking into your background, and you were a valedictorian. Is that right, in high school?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Let's go.
Valedictorian. So, Richard, I'm just saying, I'm not a competitive guy, but I did move up a little bit with this podcast. I moved up one slot. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you. Hey, all I'm saying is he took it to the next level. You know what I mean? You always want people to be better than you, and he was better.
Tre'Davious, you got a long way to go, though, on telling high school stories and different. Man, I mean, Richard's kind of the king of that now. Out in Compton and some of those stories. Now, Louisiana, that's some serious football down there too. Now, you got anything for me to kick this thing off as far as life in the early years for Tre'Davious White?
Just typical kid, just want to sort of make his situation pretty much better than what it is. And for me, it was to go to school and do as best as I could and to compete in every sport that I, participated in and try to be the best at it. And along the way, this football thing sort of stuck with me. And, whenever I was into something and, the way I was raised by my grandparents and my mom and my dad was, if you're going to do something, just, give it your 100% effort. And with this football thing, once I had an idea that I pretty much could, do something great with this, I put my all into it. And, I'm here today, but it was a lot of trials and tribulations along the way, but I persevered with the help of, the people behind me and, a lot of coaches and mentors along the way and guys that pretty much have done the things that I was inspiring to do. I was able to connect with those type of people, and those guys helped me along the way. So to be here where I'm at today is not just myself. It's a lot of people that helped me along the way. So I wouldn't be here without the help of those guys and, maximum effort, with, using my God-given ability.
That sounds like a good speech for the Academy Awards or something.
Right.
That was solid. That was really good.
No, I mean, that's what people don't understand. Like, people always think the journey's by yourself. You're like, because you get all the, you know what I mean? You there the whole time. You in front of the camera, or you on the field. And there's so many people that sat there and wiped your nose and wiped tears off you, or pushed your hard in workouts and was patient with you. And when you get frustrated and you don't want to do nothing, the coach sitting there like, hey, we'll be here all day. I ain't got nowhere to be. And,
right.
It's those people in your life that really make huge impact. So who was that for you? I know you mentioned your grandparents, you mentioned your parents, you mentioned.
Oh, man, I have several. I don't want to miss anybody, but I have several, man. I have, a few high school coaches. Actually, my college defensive back coach, Coach Corey Raymond, he played a big part of my life too. But for me, I would say, my first high school football coach, because growing up, like I said, I played every sport that I could and just wanted to be the best at it. So going into high school, going into my 9th grade year, I was undecided. Did I want to, sort of pursue the football thing, because I was big into basketball and I was really undersized. I was maybe 120 pounds as a freshman. So I was like, I don't think I want to do the football thing. But the football coach, Coach Stephen Dennis at Greenhouse High School, my high school, still talk to him to this day. We have a great relationship. And, he pulled me aside. I heard you have a lot of ability. I just want to see, where you're at. So long story short, I ended up going out there one day, and then the next day I sort of went into the gym and I tried to dodge him and try to get him around him, but he wasn't having. So I just, he stuck behind me and he pushed me. He gave me that extra push that I needed. And to this day, I still thank him, because, without him and along with other people, but, him specifically, but I think that he gave me that extra push and that extra confidence to go ahead and go for it, even though I was undersized. And, he, drilled me, put me in the weight room and put me through a lot of things. And I was able to come out, and I passed every test that he had for me. So I think I did pretty good, because he was pretty much a tough coach, to try to satisfy, try to get up on.
Right.
Well, I need to speak for America here for 1 second. Richard, what the hell's going on with you? Have you signed with the Cincinnati Bengals yet? I tried to get you to Buffalo. I couldn't get you to Buffalo with Brandon Beane. What the hell is going on? Please tell me what's going on.
Well, apparently we got to wait till the draft happens before anything else shakes out, because everybody has their hopes and dreams in the draft, which is, understandable. You turn 33 and then it's like, well, we'll wait until we can get a young pup. And if we can't get a young pup, we'll take a old pool. So that's still where we sit.
All right. Now, I've been scouting these guys. Have you watched them? Have you watched the first round? No. The Buffalo, we know.
No, I was about to say,
no. I'm talking about the replacement guys. All right?
Oh, yeah.
So Patrick Surtain or Tan, I can never remember which one it is. Anyway, so he's the guy out of Alabama, right? I don't know. Tre'Davious, have you seen him play yet?
Yeah, I've seen him. I've watched him. I heard about him along the way, but I watched probably one full game.
All right, I watched them all. Okay, I watched them all. So he's probably the closest to Richard. I'm going to say, if I had to say, if there's the next Richard Sherman out there, kind of a guy, I would say he's it. Now, he's not going to run 4.3, any of that kind of stuff. But neither did either one of you guys.
So, well, I mean, he might nowadays with the way pro day is going. He might.
Yeah, well, they run downhill with their daddy timing. We all know that. That goes back 100 years. The 38-yard track. We got all the pro days, right? That's got to make you guys crazy that you had to go to the combine and you're watching these pro day times coming back.
No, I'm happy for these young guys, man. I'm hoping, because that's pushing me to continue to try to trace greatness and continue to work hard, because I know that these young guys are coming, and it's something different that they're putting in the food now. So I'm trying to catch up and just try to stay ahead of these young guys coming in.
Yeah, I don't worry about it. I mean, every year every year they got the combine, they got the ghosts running next to each other, and they got me, lagging behind all these. I'm like, well, y'all could beat me in a race. Like, congratulations.
Big deal. They got me as the ghost running behind Rich Eisen now. So that you want to talk about feeling really low down. That's a bad day. So Surtain is, you're going to like him. So family, there's a couple of guys whose family have been around the league, right? Asante Samuel is one, kind of a smaller guy, FSU, 5'10", quick change of directions, understands the game, right? Patrick Surtain is like you guys. He watches the quarterbacks more than he watches the receiver. So he understands the game. He's going to be able to make the moves. He's not overly incredibly fast, tackles, contain. He gets all the stuff. And then we get to the X factor. All right? We get to Mr. Farley. And this guy is going to be the great unknown in this draft. He is Caleb Farley, 6'2", 207 pounds, runs like the wind. This guy can get beat faster than anybody I've ever seen and catch up as fast as anybody I've ever seen. A double move, whatever the case. Now he's going through some back surgery. So now they're unsure as to whether or not he's going to be able to make it back. He opted out of last season, so we haven't seen him do anything. But as far as just a guy that is an athlete playing the position, can get beat and catch up to it, if you can figure out a way to train him, to teach him, to show him the position, to understand the position, this guy is a freaky athlete as far as it goes. How impossible is it at your guy's position to take an athlete like that and make him into a real cornerback?
I think I'm going to let Richard speak first on that one. I'm pretty sure he got
Well, I mean, speed. I wouldn't say speed is overrated, but I feel like they overvalue it because they let speed dictate over tape, and I think that's been the problem with the league for a long time. It's like, oh, the tape looks one way, but this guy ran 4.3. His tape doesn't look great, but he ran 4.3, so we can make it look like no, it's not that way. 4.3 can get beat by 10 yards, just like 4.6 can get beat by 10 yards. Like if you guess wrong, if you read it wrong, if you stutter your feet when he stutters, if your eyes is in the wrong place, you can get beat. So speed at this level, everybody's pretty fast. And so could you make a guy like that really special? Of course, if he's disciplined, if he's dedicated to film watching, if he understands the game, if he has a great coach and great staff and a great scheme, he can thrive. But a lot of times when you have qualities like that, it's hard because you depended on it your whole life. So you always depended on speed. So it's like, I mean, no matter what, it's like, my technique can be whatever. My pedal can be whatever. My film watching can be whatever because I know I got speed. When you haven't had that, then you have to depend on everything else. And everything else lasts longer. Speed goes away eventually. The understanding the game, the understanding concepts, understanding down and distance, poise, ball skills, those things stand the test of time. And so the guy that I like most in this draft is J.C. Horn, the kid from South Carolina. That boy is a dog. Like, I don't know if they're talking about him enough. I don't know why they're not talking about him enough. He has the size, he has the speed, he tested off the charts. He's the guy that I think is going to go have the most successful NFL career. Who am I? I'm just an average dude who played in the NFL, whatever. But it looks like a dude.
Right. I was about to say the same thing, but I didn't want to cut Cris off and try to put anybody into the discussion. But yeah, like you said, the speed thing, I mean, it's good to have it, but what speed if you're not disciplined, like Richard said, or you're not watching your film, or you don't know the route by formations, you don't know if it's 2x2, what these guys gonna do. You don't know if he lines up outside of the numbers, if he lines up inside of the numbers, receiver splits, those things, to give you indicators to be successful. So, when you see guys like Richard jumping routes, he's not guessing, he's anticipating. He's already seen the route. He's already seen the combination. He knows what routes come with certain formations. So when these guys, come in thinking, okay, I'm fast, I can break them. No, it's not. It's understanding the game. And, that's what, I think that, me going to Buffalo was such a blessing in disguise because my coaches and the personnel we have, they take the time to invest in the individual player. You're going to get better at your individual craft, and you're going to be able to dissect formations. You're going to be able to know what certain things are going to come in certain situations. So when you get into these big time moments, the moment is not big for you because you've already been through those situations so many times. So like I said, like Richard said, man, J.C. Horn, I think, is a guy that sticks out for me. He can press, he can play off, he's aggressive, he tackles. He had great ball skills. And one game in particular that sticked out to me was when he played against Auburn, and it was a big time matchup between him and I can't believe the guy's name.
He was 18, I think. I think number
18. And he took him out of the game, and it was one of the most impressive things that I've seen in college from a guy that knows he's going to be one-on-one. He knows he's going to be man, and he's going to have to hold up. And he took that challenge by storm, and I feel like he had a great day that day.
Yeah, 100%. He stepped up to the challenge. He was prepared. Right. Obviously, his pops being who he is, but he was prepared for the moment. But it goes back to what you said. It's certain things that you cannot measure with a 40 time, with a height and weight, with all that. You got to look at the tape and say, man, that's him. That's him. That's what it looks like. No offense to any of the other corners. Surtan's a great player. There's 2 kids from Georgia who can play. The kid from Virginia Tech is a good player, but he is the one on film week in and week out that looks like, hey, he gonna get to the league and he gonna hold his own. Right. Because corner isn't all sunshine and rainbows, because most of the time it's not. Like, you only hear about us for a great play or something terrible.
Right.
The rest of the time you don't even, and we working the whole time.
Right.
And so that's what they don't understand. Like, when you got to Buffalo, the game changed for you, right?
Right, for sure.
Like, your whole understanding. It went from like, man, we playing checkers to like, oh, so these 2 routes, they together. They when they move, it means something.
Right.
When these 2 dudes move, it means something. And that's why when you get your hands on the ball so many times, I think you got 15 now?
Yeah, 15, yeah. Correct.
Right. But I ain't paying attention.
I wish I had as many.
Richard, I won't even mention that this guy was the number 1 rated guy on third down this year with a 93 PFF grade. But go ahead. I won't bring up any of his stats that mean anything.
Come on now. I watched him get one when I was on the field. Come on now. I'm a fan. But it's a reason you always around the ball. It's a reason you always in position. Like, whether it's a tip and overthrow, whether it's you driving on a route, whether it's you getting there before the receiver. It's the poise to get there early. That's why we get our hands on them, because it's not like us panicking and turning last second and like, oh, the ball hitting us in the face and we got to like react. It's like, all right, 2 went to the flat, 1 coming in, curl, bang, where's the ball? Bang. Or 2 on a special, all right, 1 coming on a special. Is it dig or post? Bang, it's dig. Bang, ball. Or it's we impress, you step, you get a good jam on him, you get control position, 9 ball. And it's poise and it's understanding, but it's repetition, rep after rep. Yes. And it's beautiful to see you do it. It's beautiful to see you do it week in and week out. And that's what longevity is. That's why I love seeing y'all do it. And I love you, Ramsey, Gilly, Big Play Slay, all y'all, because it's consistency week in and week out. And people don't understand how difficult that is.
Right.
It's really hard to do. It's not easy to do for 1 year, but some people can do it one time and be like, man, look, I was great that one. Did you see me in 2016?
Right. Yeah.
You do it 2016, 17, 18, 19. Oh, they know he the best. Oh, we gonna game plan for him. I'm gonna do it again.
Oh, 2019, he didn't even give up a touchdown. So there you go. See, you become a guest on this show, and we take care of you around here. We pull out all the highlights around here. I want you guys now, Tre'Davious, one thing you don't know is that Richard Sherman is going to be the general manager of a team near you very soon. So you can come to him for a trade or, a higher contract or whatever the case.
Hopefully
we have to talk. We have to talk a little bit about the beginning of this draft. Okay. I think at this point now we know the Trevor Lawrence going to Jacksonville. We agree? We're good with that one. Zach Wilson's got to be going to the Jets. So that's kind of out of there. Now we have Richard's former team, I guess, still kind of team, whatever. And San Francisco makes the big play, right? They jump up. They're going to be number 3. They're making the move. Everybody in San Francisco is defending Jimmy Garoppolo, but clearly they're going up to get a quarterback at this point. Do we now know that that's going to be Justin Fields? Do we still have a chance that that's going to be Trey Lance? Surely to God, they didn't move all the way up there to get Mac Jones, but what do I know? What do I know? Gut feel between you two, who is San Francisco's pick?
Ooh, I think Justin Fields, with what he's done in the last 2 years at Ohio State, and what he did, as of late in the postseason too, just showing up in big time games and making big time throws. And you go in and you see his pro day too, where he stayed consistent. He give you, what you've seen on film, and then he goes out and run a 4.4, I believe, in a 40-yard dash. So he has the speed too. If you need him to, be on the move or make guys miss. So I think that if you're gonna move up that far, I think you got to get a special talent. And I think that if you looking for a quarterback, that he would be, assuming that the first two guys are off the board, that he would be the best option.
I think people are missing out on the big picture because and they've had this huge discussion about black quarterbacks and how they're kind of stereotyped in, or they're not the hard worker, they're athletic, they're this, they're that, and that's what they're pigeonholing Justin Fields a bit, because he is literally the most efficient, if not, he's one of the most efficient, if not the most efficient quarterback in the draft. And he was completing, I think, 70% of his passes, and he has similarities to what Jimmy does, because Jimmy G is a very efficient quarterback. Like, he's going to get the ball, he's going to have a high completion percentage, he's going to get the ball in his spots, he's going to move the ball down the field, he's really smart. He has great command of Kyle's offense. It's really awesome to see, and I think he's going to still be the starting quarterback day one for San Francisco, because they have a chance at a Super Bowl this year. They have a Super Bowl capable roster, which is obvious. He's already taken them to one. But I think Justin Fields is the one, even without his athleticism. If you just took him as a standalone pocket passer, and his efficiency and his completion percentage and what he's able to do week in and week out, he's a winner. He's been at a program that competes at a high level year in and year out, always in the championships, always in the big games, and he's played well, and he's managed those situations really well. And I think that his athleticism just adds another layer of elite ability that makes him a difference maker. And I think it's also pigeonholed him, because you're not talking about him as the number one pick. And nothing against Trevor Lawrence or Zach Wilson, but I think there's a bit of implicit bias there that is holding him back, because it's no fault of his. You're not going to look at his play and be like, man, I see why Trevor Lawrence has all the talent in the world. Like, he can make any pass, has the look, is out there putting it on tape week in and week out. So no offense to him, but there's not enough discussion for me about these other guys that have played at a high level.
Yeah, I'm telling you, I keep thinking about the San Francisco offense. Tre'Davious, listen to this one. The San Francisco offense, every back they have that I know about runs under 4.4, right? So they're gonna start this thing with an outside zone play to try and get to the edge and force your people to move fast. If they have a chance to hit a home run with their running game with an outside, boom, here we go. We're going to beat you around the corner. So now they're going to come back and they're going to go play action off of that and throw that backside slant in there and make you look silly because all your linebackers and RPO you and do all that stuff. But what they haven't had since the days of RG3 in this kind of an offense with Kyle Shanahan is the ability to take that quarterback out the other side with a bootleg play. And I don't care if you leave somebody there. Justin Fields is not going to be tackled by some outside linebacker sitting outside. Now, he may take a second to get around him, but that is that's 53 1/3 yards of horizontal that you have to cover in order to stop that offense. Now, it's been hard enough to stop that offense as it was. You add in that running quarterback, edge, backside player, that's a lot to defend.
And not even just that, and because that's a huge element. And that was the element that, like you said, he had with RG3 his rookie year. There we go. My guru came in. Ryan, it was awesome. He came in. Give him a little FaceTime, man. Come in here. See,
the ratings just went back
right
there.
Then you get
the job. You just have to push one button and we're good.
The ratings back up, Cris.
There we go. But I think the that's all huge because of RG3. That's why he had his best season, his rookie season with Kyle in Washington, is because that zone read. Remember, he took the lead by storm. They were freaking running. Him and we played with the running back. Damn, I can't think of his name right now. 46. He had a great season that year. He played with us in San Francisco my first year.
Morris? No.
Yep.
Morris.
Morris. Alfred Morris. And Alfred had a great year. And they were dynamic. Like, you didn't know where the ball was going. He was making big passes. He was running. He was keeping it. But it's the in the pocket when the play breaks down, when the pocket isn't there, and if you're not spying him, it's gonna be crazy. And the offensive line is great, but now you have to add that element of pause in that division. So the NFC West is just a mobile quarterback division. If you draft Justin Fields and he ever gets on the field and plays after Jimmy, plays another 10 years or whatever he does. But I think it changes the dynamic and it adds dynamic to Kyle's offense that's necessary, because the pass rush now has to pause, the blitzes have to slow down, or you have to bring the house and you got to get there. Because if you don't get there, he will slice and dice through your defense in a way that's going to get ugly.
Yeah, Justin, if I had a knock on him, I would say he wants to be right all the time, So if he's in the pocket and he doesn't like that first look, he wants to be so right that he can hesitate some and it can get him in trouble and take some sacks and all that. That's not the San Francisco offense. That offense is going to, via their run game, via their blocking wide receivers and tight ends, they're going to get you first look reads or play action or bootleg action. So he's not going to just be sitting there going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, and trying to read out defenses and do that. I think it's a very exciting possibility, him coming in. Now, Trey Lance is a guy that we have to at least consider, right? Because he didn't play last year, smaller school. He's got all the athleticism. He can run like the wind. He's got a huge arm, all those kinds of things. But the Ohio State, right, versus North Dakota State, that's got to be the tiebreaker here, wouldn't you think?
I mean, I just don't.
I think. Go ahead, Rich. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just don't know. I haven't watched enough tape on him to really say I got a strong opinion of him. Obviously, I've watched Justin Fields play on the biggest stage consistently, so I'm kind of biased there. So can't comment.
I'm just going to say a little of Kaepernick. A little of Colin Kaepernick is if I had to put him in a general category, that would be my general category.
Not a bad category.
Which is not bad in that offense either.
No, it's not.
Right?
It's not.
Yeah.
I mean, he would take I'm sure Kyle would take an end of prime cap.
I'm sure he would. I'm sure he would. I want to ask you guys one more, because this is the great curiosity. So let's assume 1, 2, 3, we go quarterbacks in the draft. Now you're sitting there with Atlanta and Cincinnati coming up next, and probably not quarterback. Maybe somebody trades up in that spot. But the general consensus is Kyle Pitts, the tight end out of Florida, Jamar Chase, the wide receiver out of LSU, Tre'Davious, you got that one, and Penei Sewell, the offensive lineman out of Oregon. And they're all great players. There's no question. They're all going to be really top end players in the league. Kyle Pitts is fast, straight ahead, and one of those down the field kind of routes. He's not a great stop and come back sort of receiver, but he's a big, tall guy, and you expect that. Jamar Chase surprised me a little bit, running under 4.4. Of course, whatever the timing is in this day and age. But the huge monster year that he had, sat out last year, as did Penei Sewell, who is still like 21 years old, just a baby, but a man-child, just one of those guys that's going to go. So if you are either Atlanta or Cincinnati, does it impact a defense more to have a great tight end, a great wide receiver, or a great left tackle?
If you have like you said, Atlanta, just use Atlanta for, going into the game that you have to game plan for Julio Jones. No matter if it's run game or not, you have to game plan for him, because he's the guy that could win the game for them single-handedly. So I think that if you're going to go, I think you go Jamar Chase. I feel like he's the best option at that point as far as the offense, because with tight end, people say they're sort of limited in what they could do, with taking over the game. But this guy, Kyle Pitts, I feel like he's as dynamic as they come. He can take over the game. So I would go Jamar Chase, just me being biased. He can put him inside, put him outside. He can return kicks, punts. So he brings that sort of, value too. So I think Jamar Chase is a home run pick for me.
Tell him he owe you a piece of his signing bonus if he go there.
I can take as much as I can get. Hopefully.
All right, Tre'Davious, I got one for you too, because I'm going to work on this draft now, and I got to figure this thing out. So now we're talking about the New York Jets, and they make the trade. And Sam Darnold's going to Carolina. They paid pretty good for Sam Darnold down there in Carolina. It's 2, a 4, and a 6, something like that. You saw him twice a year. What didn't work in New York? What happened? Does he have a chance to go to Carolina with a better team and turn it around? I think
just me seeing Sam on film and just watching film and studying, he can make every throw. Every throw on the field, he can make it. He's mobile. He can throw on the run. He has a strong arm. He has all of that. So I don't know where, it went wrong as far as, him being productive or, living up to where they thought he should be. But as far as just, watching the guy on the film and his arm talent, he has it. So I think there's just him going to the drawing board and just him getting comfortable in the situation that he's in and just slinging it, because it's not that he don't have the talent or he's not capable of doing it. It's just, just putting it all together. And for some guys, it just takes longer. The NFL is a tough position, especially at the quarterback position. You have to dissect so many things so fast with how complex defenses can be now. I mean, it's a tough job. So some guys, it just take longer. And I think that, once he figured it out, he would be fine, because he can make every throw, like I said, and he can spin it pretty good.
General Manager Richard, would you have made that deal?
Yeah, I would have made the deal. And I think it was the right deal at the right time for the right price, because I think it's about fit in the league. And that's the fit can make a career or break a career. And people don't understand that. People are like so quick to label a kid bust or he sucks or he this. It's like, no, he got drafted high by a bad team. If he would have went second round to the right team, who knows the career he could have had, for a lot of people, for a lot of players. Like Trey is a Pro Bowler, all pro, everything. Right fit, great player, would have been great wherever he went, but the right fit allowed him to blossom earlier, sooner, and allowed him to really develop into the player he knows he can be. They knew he can be. But if he had gone to a bad scheme and a bad team where they're young in the secondary and they just put him in man every play and just put him on the best as a rookie and who knows how it goes, because once you lose your confidence in the league, it just goes downhill from there. So I think a lot of it is about fit, and I think this fit with Carolina may be the difference maker for Sam Darnold. Like, he has the talent, he has everything you look for in a quarterback. He can spin it, he's mobile enough, he makes all the throws, his arm is big enough, he has the poise in the pocket. He can take a hit. Now you put him in a situation where he has weapons. It's not all on his shoulder. You got Christian McCaffrey. You got a good running game. You got receivers that are dependable, reliable. You got an offensive line that can keep you off the ground. You got a defense that can get it done. I mean, it's a tough division, but I think it'll be good for him.
All right, we'll be right back to Richard and Tre'Davious, but first, you know what week this is, right? The next best thing to Super Bowl. It's Masters Week, and DraftKings, America's top-rated sportsbook app, is putting you in the center of all the action by giving you a shot to land in the green. Use promo code PFF this week when you sign up to get 100-to-1 odds on the golfer of your choosing to finish in the top 10. If you haven't tried DraftKings, this is the time. You're going to love watching the Masters even more. And George, you got any winners out there? I heard you bragging on your podcast the other day, the forecast, that you were one of the great bettors on the Masters of all time. So give it up.
All right. Well, let me give you my reason for saying that. I was an early adopter to Jordan Spieth, but the first time I saw him play there, I could tell he really liked the course, and that got my confidence up. So from there, it was just, I just kept rolling. I had Tiger the year he won it. I've had Brooks a couple of times. He was very close. I'll say this. Jordan Spieth won last week. He's back in form. If you're looking for someone to finish in the top 10, maybe not win, he plays so well at Augusta. He's a good choice. Dustin Johnson has basically always finished in the top 10 at Augusta. And then Justin Thomas and John Rahm are probably the other two that I would consider there. You might throw Rory into that group, but you just have to get him to finish top 10. And then you get 100-1 odds. And then you can go bet it on Justin Fields to go number 3 or whatever you want to do with the draft there. But those are the 5 that I guess I would consider to get you $100 here, turn $1 into $100. Of course, you have to download the top-rated DraftKings Sportsbook app. Use promo code PFF when you sign up to make that happen. You must be 21 or older, New Jersey, Indiana, and Pennsylvania. Only new customers are the ones eligible. Restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. If you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER or in Indiana, 1-800-9-WITH-IT. Enjoy the pimento cheese sandwiches this week.
Just so you know, I got a chance to play Augusta a couple of times, and every single time that I played it, I beat Jordan Spieth on number 12. I'm just saying. Have you ever bet on me? No. But I beat him every single time that I played that hole. So if you need more of these tremendous insights, of course, it is the Forecast podcast with George and Eric. Don't forget the 2-for-1 podcast and the NFL podcast as well. Everything you ever wanted to know about the game of football, about the draft, and now about golf, you can learn from George and the boys.
We need that video. We need that video of you on number 12. I would be shaking. There's no way. I'm hitting one in the water just to get it out of the way.
No, I was like, there's no way I'm hitting this thing. I bounced it. There's a wall somewhere hidden in the woods. I bounced it off that wall, back on the green, got my 2 putts, and got out of there. Thank you very much. That's all I need to know. Now we go back to Richard and Tre'Davious White. All right, Trey, I'm going back to you, man, because you hold the key to everything in this draft for me. The Miami Dolphins now sitting at 6. Is that right? Sitting at 6, and they kind of hold the key to the second half of the quarterback class here. As long as they think Tua is going to be the answer, right? I mean, you've seen him now play a couple times and more than a few times if you go back to college days and what you saw at Alabama. That's a bold move for them because they've got a nice-looking team that they're building down there. Do you think there's any chance that they take one of these 2 quarterbacks coming out in the draft? Could they take a Trey Lance or a Mac Jones?
I honestly, I don't think so. I just feel like they have so much confidence in Tua. You know, go back to last year, even when Fitz was coming in and relieving them and winning games, the next week they'll always go back to Tua. They got their guy. So I think that, you know, they're going to give him a whole year of just, you know, the whole offseason to, you know, get more comfortable and do his thing and you know, fill it out. Because like you said, Miami has a nice team, like how they're orchestrating the thing. They have have a nice defense. They have a lot of pieces on the outside. They just added Kendall Fuller, fast guy. You know, they have Devontae Parker over there. He's going to catch the 50-50 balls too. And, you know, they got Jakeem Grant, fast guy in the slot that can go by anybody. So I think that, you know, he has the weapons. And I think that, you know, it's just going to take him getting comfortable because we all know what he can do, what he did at Alabama for the last 3 years. And then, you know, coming in and just, you know, having an injury. But I think that, you know, going forward, I think that Tua would be Miami's guy. You know, they invested a lot into him and they got pieces around him. So, you know, I think this is the year where they figure out, you know, if he can, you know, carry a team, and I think he will. You know, he's a great young talent. He can move, like I said, and he can spin it too. So I think he'll be tough. I think that he'll be fine.
Well, you have experience watching it, right, with Josh this year. I mean, Josh the first 2 years was not Josh Allen this year. I mean, that sucker came on and turned into a player. As you practiced against him and watched him in games this year, what was the difference? What was the switch that flipped on?
He just took control of everything. And, you know, you could tell like the whole team, you know, and he knew that, you know, we looked to him to lead us. And, you know, he took up on that role with no regret, and he took it on full force. And I think that he handled it the right way as far as, you know, the quarterback position and the way that he carried himself in the building. You know, getting his lifts in and, doing all the things that he's supposed to watch in his film. He came prepared each and every day. And, we had a good defense too. So it wasn't like he was going to practice against some scrubs. He was going to get some good defense. So he was getting us better. And then, we were getting him better. And then once you add Stephon Diggs into the mix, he has a guy that, you can go to on 3rd and 3, 3rd and 4 that, 9 times out of 10 is going to win his matchup in this league, how the rules are set up. So, you have a dynamic receiver that, can go and get you a first down at will, when you need it. So that's what it's all about in the NFL, being in the right space. But when it comes down to it, you're going to have to have that player that's going to go out and get you, what you need in crunch situations. So, even running the ball, he's dynamic. He can hurdle guys, So it's a lot of things that Josh could do that a lot of other quarterbacks can't do. Then when you add the weapon that he had with Cole Beasley in the slot, that's a tough cover for anybody. Then you had John Brown. Then you had our young guy, Gabe Davis, coming along strong hands. So then, like I said, he had the weapons around him. And then, he had a whole correlation of, the defense giving him the ball back. And then our special teams coming up with great field position each and every game. So it was a collective, effort. But Josh just by storm, he just took off. It was just a great setup for him. And he just, took advantage of it.
Well, I don't know if you've seen the numbers or not, but it's officially like a 64.3% chance that Richard is playing for the Jets this year. So he's going to get a chance to see all these quarterbacks.
I hope that don't be the case.
So I'm just wondering, and I'm going to let Richard handle this one. How different and how unusual is it to see Cam Newton running that offense in New England? And how confident are either one of you guys that that's going to be their answer going into this season? I mean, what they spend, $150 million in free agency, something like that? Some unbelievable. And they basically have admitted they've blown the last 2 or 3 drafts, so they had to do it. How confident are you guys that they're going to make a move at quarterback? Because that's what everybody's assuming, that they're going up, they're going to get – Trey or Mac or whoever it might be.
At this point, I mean, if you're thinking you got the New England Patriots moves like pegged, like you done lost your mind, especially after what they just did in free agency. Because at first it was like everybody knows Bill Belichick doesn't spend any money. Like he ain't gonna get nobody. He get everybody. It's like, oh yeah, New England's gonna do this. They're not gonna get Cam Newton. They can't get Cam Newton. Get Cam Newton. It's like, every time you think you got them understood, you think you got them pegged, you think, hey, this is how they're going to do it. They completely fool you. So I think they gave him a little bit of money this year. It's going to be competitive. I'm not sure if they make a move. I've heard them talking about they were shopping Gilly for a while. I think it changed the dynamic of their defense substantially. I know JC had a fantastic season and has been incredibly consistent year in, year out, and never gets enough credit. I don't know how he didn't make the All-Pro team. I don't know how he didn't get Pro Bowl. I don't know how he didn't get way more this year. He's been playing out his mind. But I think that I just don't know if they have the draft capital to move up high enough. Maybe they try to move with Atlanta because Atlanta doesn't need a quarterback, and their guy will probably still be there in that spot. But I think they believe in Cam, and I don't think they surrounded him with enough talent last year. I don't think they surrounded him with enough playmakers, and I think they're going to try it again with him with a more talented roster, with a more talented team, and I think it'll be different. Who knows how many games they'll win? Who knows what the situation will be? But I know with a more talented offense, it'll be better results.
Trey, you think he's back?
Yeah.
You think he's a starting quarterback?
Yeah. Like Richard said, you can see what they did in free agency. They got 2 stud tight ends, and then they go out and they get a couple. They get Nelson Aguilar, and then they get Richard's boy from San Francisco. And then they pack their defense with a few LSU guys. So, they got the Von Guy. They got so, they're gonna be competitive. What they're trying to do. So, like Richard said, they got Richard, some better options. And then they go back and get Trent Brown at left tackle. So they have a left tackle to protect Cam. So he's gonna have time. So, we know we're gonna see a lot of 12 personnel out of them this year. So But I think that Cam, he's going to do better than he did last year. He got better weapons. He's going to have a better defense too. So we'll see. But the AFC East is going to be pretty good. You know, with the Dolphins and us. I think it's going to be a good year, man. And I'm looking forward to it.
Oh, that division is transformed, man. It's crazy what it's become. You know, for the longest time it was New England and Tom's division, and every blue moon somebody else would make it interesting. Buffalo always found a way to give New England hell, you know, regardless of what the records look like. It would always be a good game. The Jets always gave a hard down, but now you guys have become really dominant. Your defense is consistently top 5. You got playmakers on both sides of the ball. You got a franchise quarterback who's playing like a franchise quarterback, played like an MVP most of last year. The Miami situation is one that's you know, a head scratcher for me. And it was last year. And Cris can attest to this. I did not like the move when they went away from Fitzmagic, when Fitz was playing his best football. I thought that was a situation where Tua would have benefited from just sitting behind him and learning and growing and not putting on any bad tape. You know what I mean? Because it whether you're ready or not ready, what you put on tape is what you put on tape. And what you put on tape is what they're going to judge you off of. And what he was able to put on tape wasn't awful, but it wasn't great. You know, it didn't need to happen. It didn't need to be put on tape. If Fitz is playing his best football, you have a great defense. You have a really disruptive defense. Who knows how far you can go with this guy playing? You know, the offense is moving down the field, and then you put him at a disadvantage. Like say, hey, we struggled all game. Fitz, go in there for the last drive and see if you can win this game for us. You know, that's not a fair situation for anybody. You know,
and he did a couple of times.
He did.
He got Oakland. He got Oakland. I know that.
Yeah.
Right.
I got one more for you guys because you're you know, that maybe Richard's more the West Coast guy. I don't know here on this one. Denver, because Denver is also the key to this thing. Do you think that Drew Lock now has earned the right to come back without competition and them not drafting the quarterback? Because if there's somebody else moving up in this draft, you know, maybe Carolina is happy now. You know, maybe they think they've solved it with Sam. I don't know. But Denver, will they stay put with Drew Lock?
That's a tough. I don't know. Did they give him the full time this year that just passed?
Yeah, he was pretty much the guy.
Yeah, so I think, you know, just he had a full year. I don't know. If they may bring some, you know how the NFL works. They may bring somebody in to push them and, you know, bring some competition. But with that brings, you know, the best out of everybody. So I'm always looking forward to stuff like that. So if he's a competitor, he probably look for stuff like that. But I think that, you know, they have good receivers. You know, they have you know, Judy to create separation. And then they have KJ in the slot that can create separation. They got a nice, you know, running back, Melvin Gordon. And then they have Von Miller coming back. They just signed Kyle Fuller, and then they got Ronald Darby, and then they have Justin Simmons in the back end, and they got Bradley Chubb coming back. So they have a nice squad. So
they do.
You know,
they do. That's what everybody's saying, the same thing.
Everybody.
Drew, just check it down every once in a while. That's when I was watching him play. I'm like, just take the freebies, man. Take one in the flat. Check it down to your back. Don't force everything in there.
I think if Mac Jones is somehow there at 9, I think there's no question they take him. I don't see a reason they wouldn't. I think even in the terms of competition and wanting a competitive environment, it gives them a guy who's a proven winner, who's a competitor, who's all the things that you know checks off all the boxes. I mean, even there are people that mock him to San Francisco at 3. You know, so that shows his value. And there aren't a lot of teams in between there, you know, that are quarterback hungry if everybody stays put. You know, not to say everybody's going to stay put. Like you said, New England can throw their hat in the mix. Probably at 8 if they call Carolina, and Carolina's, you know, saying, hey, we're good at quarterback. You guys can move up and get Mac Jones if you want him. That could be interesting. But I think if Mac Jones isn't there, they got to go somewhere else. I think they'll stick with Drew Lock for another year.
All right, I'm taking full advantage of you guys here today. So I want to know Devontae Smith. We've seen him win the Heisman, the whole thing, came on, took over at the end of the season. You got Jalen Waddle, who was hurt last year, but has the speed, has all the Oakland Raider, the Las Vegas Raider, thank you very much, speed to go along with it and be able to do that. If you guys had to face either one of those two guys, They're going to give you your choice. You get to pick who you play against this week. Which one would you take? Assuming that I mean that that's the lesser of the two.
I'm gonna let you know something, and I'm gonna cut this, Cris. What he gonna say is what I'm gonna say, and you'll take either one of them. It don't matter.
It's gonna be a long, stressful week. Whoever you have, whoever you have.
All right, that's a terrible question. I'm starting over again. You're the general manager, Richard. You got to pick one or the other. You either get Devontae Smith with the 4th overall pick in the Atlanta Falcons, or you get Jalen Waddle with the 4th overall pick, and that's it. They're the only two guys left in the entire universe. You have to pick one or the other.
I think you got to go with Devontae Smith. I think. If we're going general manager and just all the normal things and just say the way the league evaluates, they'll say injury history with Waddle is the reason he won't go for. You know what I mean? You got concerns about his durability, his playmaking, and him as a football player. There's no concerns. There's no questions. He's a big time playmaker. He's dynamic. He can do it. He can make any play. He can everybody's saying Tyreek Hill, but he seems a little different than Tyreek when Tyreek first came out. But I think if you go with that direction, you say the durability concerns there are why you go with Devontae Smith.
Trey?
Yeah, but it's so tough though. Look
at him.
Look at him.
You're the general manager now, man. You're the general manager. You got to make the call.
You know what? I need to call Brandon Bean. Right? It's tough. You know what? I go with Richard because that would be the only thing that'll hold back. I think it's so here that you couldn't make a wrong decision with going one. So like Richard said, that's the only thing that'll differentiate that. So I think that since I don't hear about any injury history with Devontae, I just probably I'll take him just to be safe. But you can't go wrong with either. Both of them are gonna come in and change your team and make big time plays. So it's just a matter.
So now, what are we gonna do with the Kansas City Chiefs for you two guys? Both of you got knocked out. One got knocked out of the Super Bowl. The other got knocked out to trip to go to the Super Bowl. They beat you guys twice last year, right? I mean, basically nobody in the league beat you guys other than the Kansas City Chiefs over the last couple of years. What did we learn from Tampa's Super Bowl that we can carry forward into next year?
Just go out and execute your game plan. Don't try to do anything different than your game plan. Go out and be confident in what your coaches in the scheme that you're going to be executing, be confident in playing. You got to know it's going to work. You got to think it's going to work. You just got to believe in everything. Because, going against Patrick Mahomes, man, it's so tough because he sees the field so well. Those guys are so fast. And, somebody's got to be covered one-on-one. And those guys, they're so fast. So I think that you just got to play the perfect game and you got to somehow have a little bit of luck, but you got to make the plays when they present itself. When Patrick is running around and he throws that crossbody pass that he always completes, you got to some kind of way come up with the interception on that one. When he makes decisions like that. So I think that, you got to take advantage of the opportunities to the max and, execute and, maximize all your possessions. Cause I think that, those things are going to play big time roles in, changing the game. Cause, those guys are so damn eventually they're going to make some plays. They're going to, they're going to burst on the scene and have a big splash play, but you got to try to limit those things and, take advantage of your opportunities. When you can get down and you get a fumble down in the red zone, you need the touchdown, not the field goal. You need the points. So I think that you just got to take advantage of your opportunities and just, try to limit the big plays that they have. And I think that you'll be fine if you do those things.
Yeah, I think it's that. I think it comes down to executing your game plan, keeping the top over the defense, being disciplined, plastering. It all sounds fundamental. It sounds easy. When you're sitting here in a room, that's 70 degrees and you're chilling. But it's pass rushers being disciplined. It's having a stable of pass rushers, who don't get tired. You got to rotate them in, rotate them out, keep putting pressure on them. Yeah, have him without his 2 top tackles. I mean, certain things you can't plan for. I think pass rush is premium in this league right now, and it has been for a long time, and it'll continue to be. It continues to be the difference maker in these games.
Did we lose Cris?
Yeah, I think we lost Cris. I think he hasn't changed anything. It just went bad.
Yeah. I got your jersey coming too, Richard. I got your jersey coming.
I was about to say,
I got it coming.
I sent it, and I said, "Oh, this boy ain't sent it back."
Nah, I'm gonna send it out this week for sure. I'm gonna send it out, man. I gotta check that. I'm sending it off this week. I got it upstairs for you.
Okay. I appreciate that. Yeah, well, it's been great having you on. I appreciate you coming on with us and talking and stuff. We'll definitely have another conversation this offseason and chop it up for sure.
Yeah. All right, for sure. I got your number. I got you locked in, so I'll shoot you a text and Oh yeah, I was talking to my dad and I was telling him yesterday, I was like, man, I really don't do this media thing, but people reached out. I can't tell him though. I got to get on him and talk football. And
man, you did a great job, man.
He just wanted to say hello, man. He really liked your game. He really respected both of us. We talked about it a lot. So I was telling him about, the jersey that you gave me after the game. You signed it for him. And I sent him a picture of it. So he was pretty excited about that.
Hey man, tell Pops I said what's up, and I appreciate him too, man. Give him some love for me. I'm a huge fan of you, and will always be, man. You doing it right now. You at the top of the top, and I'm proud of you. I'm happy to see that. And anything you need from me, you got my number. Never hesitate to reach out.
Yeah, I appreciate that, man. Hey, tell the family I said hello, man. Enjoy.
I appreciate it. You do the same.
All right, thank you so much to Trey and to King Richard for a great conversation. Remember to subscribe to our podcast feed so you'll get each episode as soon as it drops. And we'll see you next week with another great show. Look forward to it. Don't forget the NFL podcast, the 2-for-1 podcast, and the forecast for all your gambling needs, all a part of the PFF Podcast Network.